Yeah, so US Coins was a coin shop in Sharpstown Mall in Houston, Texas. It was literally, I don't know, 1,000 square feet. And it was just what you would think of an old coin shop in a mall. And Sharpstown Mall was actually in a, I'd say, kind of a median income neighborhood. So it wasn't a great mall, but it wasn't a bad mall. And I remember literally 13, 14, 15 years old going to that shop. I was actually more into sport cards back then. So I would do all the coin sorting and just do whatever the guys needed me to do, the guys that worked in the shop back then. And my Uncle Johnny was involved in that shop pretty heavily back then. And I would sort coins for the first part of the morning. And then I would go out to we had a little baseball card section where we had 89 upper deck and 88 tops traded and 86 tops traded card packs. We had a little section where we were selling individuals, and I would literally spend my money that I made. I think it was $5 an hour or something then. I would literally buy one or two upper deck packs trying to hit a Ken Griffey Jr. rookie. So I was drinking my own Kool-Aid even at 11, even at an early age. But that coin shop was just like you would expected in the early 90s. Was an old dusty coin shop that had silver bracelets, gold bracelets, certified coins, raw coins, bins of dollars, bins of Buffalo nickels, Lincoln cents, V nickels, all that stuff. And it was your traditional coin shop. It was fun. And then Kenny and my dad and my uncle Dan, they got a place over on the Richmond building by the Galleria in Houston. Wow, what a whole new ball game that was. They had a huge office space with offices and all these traders, great ones like Paul Montgomery, Robert McGee, Mike Fulgens was in there.
Mm-hmm.
We had Clark Samuelson, which was just one of the greatest guys I ever knew growing up as a kid. He's just such a sweet, awesome guy. We miss him a lot. But it was just it was the Wild West. You had Brian Yutzi in there, obviously my dad, Uncle Danny, Jack Hertzberg. There were a lot of the greats were in that office, and man, what is some great memories just sitting around and looking at all the 20 stacked up on the desk right when PCGS started certifying coins. There was just pandemonium every time
And how old were you then?
I would say early teens.
So it started real early for you. And so was it your father or a mentor or a coin or a deal, or what convinced you early on that this is where you wanted to spend your career?
Yeah, it was my dad called me. I was living in Florida at the time. I was doing the college thing and not doing a great job at the college thing. And he's like, "Hey, why don't you come try the coin business? Computers." I was into computers a lot. I was building computers in my garage as a kid in my mid-teens, and as I got a little bit later in my teens, I was really into computers and just the construction and building them from scratch and learning how they worked. He was like, "Hey, I think that our paths could intersect here." So I actually came in 2000 to Houston to start the eBay division for US Coins. And I had a little office, and I just way too young to understand the opportunity I was given, right? Just completely, just not a smart, not a smart approach, I would say, on my end. And I think the lack of just understanding of the way all of that worked from the people that were giving it to me. Now, granted, my uncle Danny was big into computers as well, which is one of the reasons I even got into computers.
Yeah.
I idolized my uncle Danny as a young kid.
Yeah, he's
He
a
was
good
just,
man.
he's just, I mean, there's just they don't come much greater than Danny. And he really did his best to really try to get me into it, but I just couldn't wrap my head around coins. I just couldn't wrap my head around how that people would find them interesting. And of course, a lot of the collectors were older gentlemen, right? There weren't young guys my age. We were all ripping baseball packs and, doing everything but looking at coins. So there wasn't anything that really intrigued me about it at a young age. And I would say as I got like into my mid 20s and I worked in the wholesale division with my dad. So I kind of got out of the storefront type and got more into wholesale and trading and going to coin shows.
Yeah.
Then I started to see it a little bit different. I started to see the sheer volume of what, basically friendly competitors do, right? I mean, you go to a coin show, you're really all vying for the same thing. And that's that retail customer to help start, just an all-time collection. But underneath the scene or, behind the scenes, you're really trading coins between each other and, making your margin and having a good time and building good relationships. And I think that's when I started to realize the potential of what could be done.